Welcome to the Gainin Fast on Memphis podcast with Aaron Shriver, brought to you by Arlo Revolution. Each week, Aaron connects melodies and memories with fans and artists from all genres of life. When all else in life is gone, only music will be left to leave the legacy of life's adventures. Please welcome your host for the Gainin Fast on Memphis podcast, Aaron Shriver.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Tuesday night again. It's a good Tuesday night. It's going to be a good show tonight. I'm excited for this one. So it's a good night because I'm actually, the minute this show is over tonight, I'm going to finish up The Office for the first time ever. I decided to start binge watching The Office a month or two ago. And I finally got down to the last episode, and it's going to be tonight. I've never seen the finale yet, so I'm excited. But before we jump into tonight's show, I do have to touch on our sponsors. Once again, Arlo Revolution, who we are presented by Cinematic Wedding Films, Music Videos, and Promos. You can find them on Facebook and at arlorevolution.com. For all your production and video needs, check them out. They're doing some good things. And I know once this whole quarantine thing's over, he's up and ready to run again. And also to all of my Patreons out there, once again, we're going to be pulling a winner here shortly for tonight or for this last month's Patreon. But you guys are the heart and soul of this show, and I thank you guys. And then our on-screen sponsors, Art on a Higher Wire by Joelle, original and custom artwork inspired by your life moments, treasured photos, and memories. You can find her on Facebook, as well as Janet Stolth Creative, online marketing services guaranteed to make your companies be found and succeed on the web. And also, starting, I think, next week, we'll have a little image of my buddy Corey from the church choir is one of our newest on-screen sponsors, and we'll be adding him here next week to the show, and I'm very excited to have him on. I do have room for one more. If you guys want to go over to Patreon, I'll drop the link here shortly in the chat. And just jump on there and check it out. And we have one more, like I said, on-screen sponsor, but many other perks for you guys. And it gets you into cool giveaways, which we're going to be talking about here shortly. But that is definitely one of the many ways you can support the show. Another way is hitting the share button right now. If you're watching, share it out there. We're going to have a really cool show tonight. A lot of really cool stories are going to be told. I have a good feeling about this. So share it if you're out there. And then on Thursday, when it hits on Apple Podcasts, just go ahead and make sure you guys give it a 5-star and leave a cool little review or something. Always that helps. And I like it on YouTube too. So those are the main outlets. You guys follow that for us. It always works. But yeah, man, that's a good way. How you guys doing on this Tuesday? I'm excited. Cinco de Mayo. I'm drinking some water over here. So it's exciting. I missed a couple of days of work this week. I'm back now, but just a little stomach thing going around, and yeah, it was fun. But I'm excited to be back today, and I'm going back tomorrow, and it's exciting times right now to be out and about and just kind of seeing the world as it's running and not running at the same time, especially here in the Chicagoland area. I'm sure it's a lot like St. Louis, so we're going to find out here shortly once we get to our main guest tonight. But we do have to pick the winner of our April. Yeah, April. I was like, kind of confused. Here we go. Of our April Patreon. Here, let me remove this. So this is going to be, what's up, guys? All the comments are coming in now. This is going to be for a $25 Chief merch gift card. It's going to come in handy right now with some new merch that just hit the store, as well as a hard copy book of Jeremy Spillman's The Divine Devils. And it's going to be including a pint glass and a knife, too, comes with it. It's a pretty cool little gift set. You can check it out on jeremyspillman.com over there on his website. You guys heard him talk a lot about it last week. So it's a great book. This can be the hardcover copy, and it's going to come personalized to you from Jeremy. So it's going to be really cool little add-on. So let's find out a winner for this one. I know I got a few messages today. Everybody's excited. This is going to be a good one here. So I wish my name was on there. Actually, I gotta put that one back in. Cool. Saw one pop out. I'm like, oh, let's put that back in. All right. The winner is Lonnie. If you're watching out there tonight, Lonnie, once again, thank you to all of our Patreons. But Lonnie, I'm gonna go ahead and get your info, and we'll get that right out to you here shortly. Like I said, I got to order it from Jeremy's site, so it's going to take a little bit to get in. But I'll see if I can send it straight to you. But I'll get you the gift card tomorrow too. So once again, thank you guys for all of our Patreons for the month of April. We got May's contest right away, starting it's right away. Yeah, like I said, but go ahead and check that out. It is going to be a Lewis Bryce merch package. So you can get the shirt, the hat, and an autographed EP. as well as a copy of Jeremy Spillman's Divine Devils paperback book. So I definitely want to make sure I could get a copy of that on many people's hands because it's a great book. But so if you are a member of our Patreon, go ahead and check it out. If not, I will share the link in the comments once again with all of our other links. You can check it out in the show notes if you're listening on Apple. It's just a great place to check things out. Also, our guest links are going to be over there as well and see what she's been up to. But let's see what else. I think that's it. I mean, once again, if you guys know, our after show is postponed one more week. We are going to be back next week with the after show. I'm pretty excited because my buddy Lewis Bryce is coming on. I met this guy a few years ago. We're going to talk about him more at the end of the show tonight, but it's going to be really cool. Really cool next week to check out. But after show's back, and I'm very excited. And we also go back to 75 minutes. Hey, from Georgia. Sorry, I was trying to read comments here. That's why I got a little sidechecked. Hey, Terry, she's in from Georgia. Yeah, you guys drop where you guys are from. And like I said, once again, if you guys could hit that share button and just get some people on here watching tonight, and we get some really cool stories. So, but tonight we have a very good friend of mine. She's coming on. I first met Angela. I don't even know how, man. I don't even know when we first met. It was years ago in the choir. And I got to see her do some really cool things since then. She's been really passionate in the media field. And it's pretty cool to see where her life takes her every year and just in different routes and different paths. So let's bring her on and share some of these really cool stories she has. I had to get some new intro music there. What's up? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. You got your camera all fixed there. Look at that.
I finally figured out how to get myself straight and not crooked, so that's good. I do apologize for the background that makes it look like I'm in some sort of hostage takeover. I have a lot of service upstairs, so now I'm in the basement, and that's why it looks like I'm not held.
Looks good. Sounds good. It's all good. So how's St. Louis treating you right now?
I miss work more than I miss my friends. I got to tell you, because of my jobs all have to do with people. Yep. I haven't been able to work for over a month now, and that's very concerning to me. But
you're probably going pretty crazy because you haven't really got to get out and do much.
Yeah, I'm going absolutely crazy. I see my family a little bit, but that's about it. Most of my friends are still in that real scared part of the world, so yeah, I haven't visited with them. And then, of course, no work is going on.
So now I just want to really quick just jump into it. I know you're a big concert goer too. Yeah. What's this about Missouri's allowing concerts starting yesterday?
I know. Did you see that? Now I don't know that anybody's going to go. Just today they announced 3 concerts that are already canceled that were scheduled for late July, early August.
Yeah.
So I don't know if anybody's actually going to show up, but the governor of Missouri said as long as you can have kind of that buffer, you can have a concert. Now I don't know how that even works because I'm so used to being in the pit up next to each. But he said if you could have like a 6-foot spacer, why not have a concert?
And how are you gonna have a 6-foot spacer? I mean, come on, it's not like a drive-in. Like I see them doing drive-in concerts. That'd be pretty cool to check out.
Drive-in concerts would be cool. You know, the drive-in just across the river in Illinois, on my side over here, is opening up this weekend. So drive-ins are opening up. So I guess it's a similar concept.
Yep, that's close to you live close to Alton, Illinois, right?
Yeah.
In that area? Yeah. Okay, that's why I figured you weren't too far from there. I've been down to Alton a little bit, but not too much. So tell me, what got you involved in just wanting to do on-camera or radio or media things? I mean, just kind of get into the whole field.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of weird. My degree for college is in elementary education. So not at all what I thought that I was going to do, but it's kind of like a snowball activity. So I started dancing on there's a country line dancing show in St. Louis, and me and my friends went out for college night and we would dance over there, and they started letting me do the commercial bumpers. And then that guy who ran that show was also the guy who ran the blues production. And it was kind of one thing led to another that led to another. And now somehow I'm over here writing it on my own now.
I actually saw a guy at work today wearing a St. Louis Blues hat. I started thinking about you. I was like, hey, I wonder if he knows the Ice Girls at all,
yes!
or the old ones.
The old one. Hey, I'm not that old.
Yeah, what I'm saying. Well, when you first started doing the whole thing, that was pretty cool. So when you started with the Blues, did you start being an Ice Girl? Was that was your first gig with them, or did you start on the media side?
No, it was the talking job. So, nice. Yeah, I was 18, I think, barely out of college, and they came and they originally were going to have a guy who was more well-known do the weekends and me
Yeah.
do the weekdays. But the first couple of home games were weekdays, and they're like, oh, actually, you are pretty good. We'll just let you do it. Super.
That worked out. And then that probably opened a lot of doors from you. Like when did you first get into radio too?
Yeah. So the radio thing came after that. I started on a different radio station in St. Louis. He said he liked my voice from the Blues games, and if I wanted to do it, I could. And so I started there. And then finally there was a spot open up in the country radio station. And that's, of course, where I wanted to be the whole time.
Yeah, that probably opened every door in the world for you.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, you meet a lot of people in country radio. That's for sure.
Yeah, I worked for US 99 for probably like a year here in Chicago. And I always had a passion for radio because I went to Illinois Center for Broadcasting. And I had my a degree or certificate in TV radio broadcast, which I love. But I just got out of it. What was that?
Can we switch degrees?
Yeah, right.
You'll give me yours. I can give you mine. And
well, I got a marketing one now, but so I loved it, but I just found that I was making more money in pool construction at the time than I was working in radio, so I kind of got out of it. But with this whole podcast, I got back into it, which I love doing now. But you got to have a passion for radio, and I think, and if you're passionate about it, you always want to be around it.
Well, yeah. I agree with that 100%. Media is one of those things that'll definitely chew you up and spit you out if you aren't passionate about it and don't really want to be there. I mean, there's so many times along the way that I could have been like, okay, I'm done. But I just really like doing it. So I was like, no, I'm not done yet. Not done yet.
What would you rather do if you had to pick? Like, would you rather do more of the on camera interviewing or more like a radio style?
You know what? Either one now. When I started, I would have easily said TV hands down. But now that I kind of got used to, there's something different about TV and live audiences that you can kind of read them. You can tell if they're happy or mad at you, or, you can kind of read where you're going. In radio, you're in that little room, usually you and maybe one other person that you're interviewing, and you can't really read how the audience is receiving it. But now that I'm used to that, either one kind of works for me, but I do like what I've been doing over there at STL TV. I work for STL TV right now. And so I like what
kind of watched a little bit on YouTube there for a little bit.
Yeah. We've been doing Angela's adventures and things like that. So I like it.
I'll drop that link for everybody tonight. I think I do. I think I have your YouTube link, but I might have the STL one too. I'll make sure everybody has. I'll drop for you. So, kind of like when you got into baseball, you just got into recently working for the Rays, right?
Yeah. So that was the first season I left the Blues. So that was 18, I guess.
Okay.
And that was really kind of one of those weird happenstance moments where you meet somebody and they're like, hey, do you want to do this? And I was like, I do want to do that. And so it was weird because I was with the Rays for a season and a half. And that was weird because I was still working every job that I had here in St. Louis. So I was flying.
You were traveling a lot.
I was staying there for a couple weeks and then flying back here to St. Louis to do it. But I really do like baseball. I'd actually, weirdly enough, St. Louis is almost as small as they always say it is. And I ran into Joe Buck and I was like, hey, should I stay in hockey or should I move to baseball? And he was like, oh, there's more money. It's more eyes, more money in baseball. If you can move to baseball, do it. So that's kind of how that all played out.
So now you still with the Rays when everything goes back, or?
So no, now I'm with the Cardinals. So
oh, nice. Okay, so now you're back with the Cardinals.
Within a drivable range.
Yeah, that's sweet. All right. How long have you been with the Cardinals now?
So I picked up with them half a year. So last season. Yeah.
So you're interested for baseball to get back.
I sure am. I don't know how this whole pod situation could work out, but yes, I am.
Yeah. It's gonna be pretty crazy, I think, once anything comes out. So
yeah,
I start having games again.
I don't know how that could even work with, the Cardinals pull 40,000 plus a game. So I don't know how you can space out those people to watch it. It'll be interesting.
Oh, yeah, especially, you've been to games at Wrigley. You go in the bleachers, it's general admission.
Yes.
You're pretty much sitting on people's laps. So
yes. And actually Wrigley is one of my favorite ballparks.
I love Busch too. Busch Stadium's amazing.
Well, you're so close to the field at Wrigley. Like no matter where you sit, I feel like you're so close to the field at Wrigley.
Yeah, you are. It's not a bad view at all. Unless you get behind a pole or something.
Well, right. And
that does happen. There's pole seats.
Well.
I've sat behind a couple of poles in Wrigley, and never fun. But It's always a good
you can
time.
kind of peek around and see what's going on.
Yeah, it's always a good rivalry too with the Cubs and Cardinals. So
Oh, you gotta
it's
love
always
that.
a fun one.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
who's been your favorite Cardinal player of all time?
Of all time, like when I was a
Yeah,
little kid, I liked Ozzie Smith mostly because he did backflips, not because of any
nice.
other reason. But I really liked him then. But then, as I started, getting older and kind of working with some of the players with my work with the Blues, I like David Freese is always just a really nice dude.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I definitely follow the Cardinals a little bit, not too much, but I think it was what Luke Brock used to play for them years ago.
Yes.
So I'm an old school baseball fan, so I definitely loved watching them back in the day.
Yeah, he came on a show that I did 100 years ago, and he was so genuine and so nice when he was on that.
Oh yeah, definitely. I remember we were in a store somewhere. My dad won an autographed baseball by him. I still have it somewhere. I think it's over here on the wall somewhere, but I'll
I
never
can
forget
see it,
that.
Aaron. You have so much cool stuff on the wall.
It kind of gets lost in everything somewhere. So everybody laughs because they're like, you just find an empty spot and just put a picture frame there. I'm like, yeah, that's normally what I do. So
I like it. I think you can come decorate my basement for me.
it's just fun throwing everything up. So of all the interviews you done, I know interviewing Church was probably one of your favorites and one of your coolest ones. But what one have you loved the most? Like, what was like one of the most coolest down to earth guys just to kind of sit back and interview or kind of catch up with real quick?
Well, all of those sports guys have been really awesome and down to earth. But I
Mm-hmm.
have got to say, and I get a lot of heat from this because I've said this before, Garth Brooks was
Okay.
so humble and so wonderfully kind. Like I had heard stories about him being so nice and genuine, but he really was. It was one of those things where when he came up to, because he's walking down the media line and he finally
Yeah.
got to where we were. And he had already talked to me because I'd asked him a question during the big junket. And he had remembered my name, which was cool. But he went around me and shook the hand of my camera guy and wanted to meet my camera guy. And when we were leaving, my camera guy's like, I've worked in St. Louis my whole life. I've met some really cool people. Never once has anybody went out of their way to meet me. So Jerry, the camera guy, was really excited about that. And it was one of the
Yeah.
that Garth makes you feel like you're the only person in the room, which was really unique.
I have a good buddy that's working for Garth right now and doing a lot of his like media and video and
We
stuff.
know the same
Yeah,
guy.
Trevor. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So he tells me some things here and there, and he's a cool guy just to kind of hear like the different stories by Garth, but it just sounds amazing, like the things he does. And I mean, I'll always be a Garth fan. I don't care what anybody says about him, but like our first night out after we had Jackson, Jillian and I were at a Garth Brooks show. We had nosebleed seats all the way up top, and this lady just approached us and almost like we called her almost a liar because I didn't believe her, and she made my wife cry. But she's like, yeah, I interviewed Garth earlier, and I have these front row tickets that he said to make sure to give out to some real fans. And it was the first show he did after he came back in Chicago. And we were like front row, row 1, seat 1 and 2. Like it was amazing. So I'll
That is
never forget that. Yeah.
awesome.
It was like we went from
So cool.
nosebleeds to the front row, and I'm like, I'll never forget it. That was a night I took one picture. The minute Garth came out, I took one picture with my phone up close. I put my phone away. I'm like, I'm enjoying this show because I may never hit this chance ever again.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's so true because you probably won't. I mean, that's really awesome. Yeah, Trevor was nice enough to hook me up with some really great photos. I think you're using one right there. So I was pretty
Yeah.
to have some of those.
Yeah, he is definitely a good guy. It's kind of funny because it goes all the way back to where my wife's family lived in Mississippi, where I first met Trevor and know him from. And I know he first introduced me to his buddy Mitch, like in the Boonville, Mississippi area. So I got to meet Mitch and got to see them years ago, and back in Trevor's impersonation days,
Yeah,
which
so
I'm sure you
I
remember
remember
those.
those.
That's still funny. I know he feels so bad about that, but he was like, hey, he was rolling with it, right? Have
I
fun
mean,
with
you
it.
have to take every opportunity life hands you, right? You might as well.
Exactly. I mean, exactly. I was hearing someone tell me a story about a security guard once for Cypress Hill handed this guy a joint or whatever, and he pretty much just took his shirt off, his badge off, gave it to his boss, said, sorry, they're handing me a joint, I'm going with them.
Going with them.
Yeah. And it's like, you just got to. If you get the opportunity, you gotta go ahead and take it.
Absolutely.
So let's see. I'm trying to go through some of these photos and whatnot. But so you think Garth was probably overall, even so when it comes to sports, who's been one of your favorite for with sports?
Well, I mean, I'm always going to go back to like little baby Angela when she was, watching hockey as a child, she watched Brett Hall and Kelly Chase and thought those guys were so awesome. And then adult Angela meets them and is friends with them, and I can call them on the phone now. And so when my very first time interviewing, actually either of them, but Brett Hall, I was sick out of my mind. I was kind of nervous about it, like, because I don't really get nervous, like whatever, like I see her swim, it's fine. But I was kind of nervous about it. And like after you interviewed him, it's like, wow, I watched him as a kid and I got to interview him. And of course, Bobby Plager is a blues legend, and getting to interview him is great. And because I'm from St. Louis and grew up here, and my family is so big into hockey, my grandfather was inducted to the St. Louis Amateur Hockey Hall of Fame. So we grew up like loving hockey. So like all those guys, whenever I got to interview them, as an adult, it was like, whoa, wait, this is my life now. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. Did I see somewhere that you got to interview or get close to Gretzky for a little bit?
Yeah, well, so he's in St. Louis a lot. He married a St. Louisan. So he comes to a lot of Blues games. So there's multiple times that I ran into him. But the one time that really sticks out of my mind is, you're in the tunnel in the basement of, what was the Scott Trade Center. Now it's the Enterprise Center. And he stopped and he was like, hey, I just want to tell you, you do a really good job. And you're thinking to yourself, like, Gretzky saw me do something. Like, that's really cool,
Yeah, I kind of, whenever I prep for the show, I kind of just go through like photos and stuff. And I thought I saw something like that on your Facebook. And I'm like, that's cool. Like, I like that. Like, he actually stopped to actually comment on something you're doing.
To mention, and I mean, it really makes you feel like, important for a minute.
So you get to do something real cool other than the whole interview things. Whenever the awards come around, you have done fill-ins.
I have.
Tell me about doing that, like seat fill-ins. Tell me about doing all that. How fun that is.
All that stuff kind of is one of those snowball activities that I talk about. And so I have a friend in Nashville, and he was like, if you want to come down, and I did. And I've been doing it for probably 10 years now, where I go down there and sometimes I get a great seat, that one. And sometimes I don't get a great seat, but I'm in the building, and that alone is pretty cool. But it's been pretty fun to like be able to sit next to some of those stars and see them interact with each other. Cause that for me is what I think is like the coolest. And of course,
or see some eye rolls or something.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I could take those stories back to radio all the time. It's like, there was one show, it was actually the year, I think Jason Aldean had cheated on his wife. So they didn't want to sit in their seats. So I got to sit in Jason Aldean's seat for the majority of the show. He was there in the very beginning and the very end, but the rest of it was my seat. So I was sitting front row center next to Tim McGraw, and like you get to see them kind of all interact with each other. It was pretty fun.
That's cool. So we're gonna get to your Eric stuff here in a little bit, but how cool was it to be front row when he got Album of the Year and actually be in seat filler? Like how odd was that? Like how weird?
It was. I mean, it's just every time you see. So, to get back into, I met Eric before he had a record deal. He was friends of a friend of mine. And so to see him kind of succeed is really cool, especially for somebody like me who's trying to succeed in my own realm. And so it's kind of cool to see somebody, kind of achieve everything. And so it was kind of just that was the year that Jason Aldean cheated on his wife. That was me front row center, a couple down from Tim McGraw. And when he got called the winner, I mean, that was cool. And then, of course, I found that awesome photo, and I was like, "Hey, this is awesome."
that is really cool. That especially being an old school and longtime fan of Eric's, and being there because Eric's always prided himself on the album, not the singles or anything else. He's always been very proud about the album, and that was when he won Album of the Year, I think, for Chief.
Yes.
So it was really cool to be front row to see that as a fan. Too.
Absolutely. I mean,
and just be there to support it.
Yeah, when I was going, just going to award shows, it was cool just to see him. I saw him once play like on the backstage because what?
Yep, I was at that one. It was the first one he ever played. He did Love Your Love the Most, I think.
Yeah, so he
was wearing like the denim jacket or whatever.
Yeah. Guys on the real stage, and then they have like the little guys on and I was like, oh, that's so cool. He's playing here. And then, you fast forward a couple years and he wins Album of the Year, and I get to sit front row center and watch it.
That's the look of the draw right there, though. Thank God Jason Aldean was out having a good year, right?
Well, I mean, him and his wife were still together at the time. I think they just didn't want to deal with all the commotion of it.
Yeah, definitely agree on that. They never do. So I'm gonna go ahead. Let me get this off. I'm gonna play a little clip here before we talk about this next thing. Let's see. No, I just muted myself. You'll know what it is in a second. Let me mute these mics. so we don't echo.
All right, we are here in Nashville. I'm very excited about this one. The Outsiders, Mr. Eric Church right here. Now, you probably don't remember this. You meet hundreds and thousands of people, but I met you years and years.
Oh, I remember.
Oh, you remember right
Totally.
away?
I remember. I met you at Fiddle and Steel.
Look at
Correct?
that. You are right. Very good.
Yeah.
I actually have a photo. Do you remember that guy? That's you from then.
I don't.
No,
Look
I
at that
know.
kid.
I know, right? How great is that? But, flipping off the camera, so that's
pretty typical.
that's typical you.
That seems right, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, good. All right.
So how cool is it that when you went in there and he knew exactly where you guys met and everything else, like just
I figured he would remember that, but so we were like, I wouldn't say friends, but the girl in the middle, Stephanie, her and I were on a reality TV show, and she was from Nashville, and she was like, "You need to come visit me. You're gonna love Nashville." I'd never been, and I was like, "Okay." And the whole time she was talking about her friend Brandon and his brother Eric, that was a really good singer, and so while I was down there for the first week and a half that I stayed with her, that's who we hung out with. We hung out with Eric and Brandon the whole time, and there's Brandon. I love that photo. So it was cool. It was cool then. But then to interview Eric in 2014, that was right before The Outsiders came out. They flew me down to Nashville from the radio station to interview him, and they're like, I don't know that they knew that I had actually known him. They just knew that I was a fan, and so they thought it would be a good interview. And so I got to tell you, that was like a full circle moment for me. It was like you see somebody that you sort of kind of used to know, and you see them like with all this sort of success, and you get to interview them, and that was really cool for me.
Yeah, that is pretty neat. That like I remember when you first posted that, and when you actually posted the video and everything too, I was like, this is really cool to see, because you'll normally see a scripted interview with somebody, but this was actually an interview that I wanted to see, because I knew as one fan, or I knew you were going to be asking the questions that like I would want to ask. So you weren't going to ask like what every other radio station was going to ask. You're going to dig deep and find the stuff the fans want to know and everything else and talk to them. So I really enjoyed that interview when you did it, and it came out, because it was a good one. But I was a Fiddle and Steel guy too. I mean, that's where I first met Brandon and really kind of dug into Eric and everything. So going back and that was your first interaction with Eric, was Fiddle and Steel, was pretty cool, because that was really, I mean, I first saw him on a concert, but then I put the two and two together, like, oh hell, I know who your brother is, and from Fiddle and Steel, because Big Tony, he's a Fiddle and Steel family guy too. So, but yeah, definitely the alley has changed over the years.
Oh, you know what? I'm not gonna lie to you. I have no emotions usually ever. It almost made me cry when I went back there, because don't have any more, like the ambience of the alleyway is gone, and of course the fiddle's gone totally. So there's a hotel there now, which is just ridiculous.
Well, they finally put the hotel in, huh?
Yeah, they put the hotel in the last time I was down there, so it's in there, and it took away. I'm like, oh, there used to be some really cool bars here, and that was, I don't know, that was weird for me, because we used to go down there. I mean, I go Nashville, St. Louis is a 4.5 hour drive, 5 hours drive. So we would go down any given weekend and just hang out, and Brandon was frequently at the Fiddle, and actually he's the one who taught my brother the lunchbox shot. I don't know.
Was that the one with it was a beer, amaretto sour. Like you had a beer, then you took a shot of amaretto or something, and orange juice, right?
And orange juice, yeah.
He taught me that one too.
There you go. So I'm not a drinker, so he taught my brother that shot a lot. So it's just kind of.
I remember that. Yeah, it was like orange juice, beer, and then a shot of amaretto or something, like straight down the middle. Yeah, that was good too. It was like sherbet ice cream almost. It was good.
I'm gonna have to trust you guys. It sounds disgusting to me. It was one of those things. He taught my brother that shot. My brother still does that shot to this day. So it's one of those.
That's awesome. The next time you see your brother, tell him to do one of those for me too. So because that's one I remember. That's the one I remember from that Brandon always would do at Fiddle. Yeah, that was a fun one. So it was always a good time whenever we were out with him. I remember one time on Beale Street in Memphis, and oh god, was it 2007? I think it was, and we were out till like 3-4 a.m. And I think it ended with us smoking cigars somewhere on Beale Street when they were trying to kick us off.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, because he always loved a good cigar.
That sounds about right. Yeah, we had some fun times when they would come to St. Louis. Brandon and I would go, scour the town down here too. So
Because a lot of people didn't know, but Brandon did merch like for the first year or so that he was out with it, or Eric was out.
yeah, Brandon did some stuff with them, and there was a while there when I guess Brandon didn't. And anytime I was going to a show, I always I'm a poster, right? So I would post on Facebook like, "Gonna go see Eric Church tonight," and he'd be like, "Hey," like he would message me and want to know like what I was doing and if I saw him to tell him this and that kind of thing. And yeah, oh, I love that photo.
Yeah, that's a funny one. But you said you got talked into doing that photo.
Yeah, that one I got talked into doing. So that was my promotional days, and they were like, go ask him if he's ever autographed anybody. And I guess at the time he had said no. I'm sure by now he's autographed 1,000 people.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's had some fun doing that, I'm sure, over the years.
What a ridiculous photo. It's almost embarrassing, but that's all right.
It's always good. I got one of him signing my wife's chest. So.
Oh, he signed mine once too. All right, we're all even.
So we're all on. You guys are on a level playing field. So where was this photo? This was Missouri, right? I think I remember this show.
Yeah, that was Wentzville. So it's a little bit of ways for me. It's like 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes from where I stay. But he was opening up at 4th of July. I think it was like the 3rd of July. It was a 4th of July fair. And he opened up for somebody, and to this day I don't remember who, but it was one of those things where, again, there wasn't a whole lot of people there for him. They were all there to see the other guy, and so I got to go, right up close and be like, "Hey, I'm here at this concert." And then, of course,
one of the 5 people out there supporting him at the time.
Yeah, it was one of those kind of things. And actually, afterwards, I think I had messaged him, and I was like, like, what are you doing? He's like, well, right now I'm running from people. Where should I go hide? Because there were a couple people that were like kind of stalking him a little bit. So that was like right when it was starting to, I guess, pick up for him.
I think I know a couple of people you might be talking about actually. Over the years, it's been interesting to see different ones. So I always try to stay out of that whole fun picture of that.
Well, I mean, there's a line, right?
There's always has to be a line. That is for sure.
but I don't know that everybody knows where the line is.
Yeah, some people, and especially, I mean, back in the day, I know there was always some that are fighting off, and if they didn't get to Eric, they'd go for the band.
Jeez. I mean, that's true with every celebrity, and I'm not using my air quotes for Eric, but any football player, any hockey player.
Unfortunately, half the time, 90% of the time, it's all untrue, but it's just he said, she said shit. But
right, absolutely, that always is going to happen.
Exactly. So, but it's always fun. So, especially when you see different fans, it's like, oh, hey, I got a chance. You're like, no, not at all.
No, you don't.
No, let me ask you that. Does it bother you when you see people talk about him like in those kind of ways? Do you think?
I think it's weird. So I find all that so odd, but that's just me. You know what I mean? Like, that's like a personal, like, Angela problem. But I find all that so, like, 'cause you'll look at some of these, groups that I'm in, these fan groups and stuff, and it's kind of like, the man has a wife and a couple kids. Like, can you maybe slow down a little bit? Maybe
that's what I always see. I see people say stuff and people get really irked or upset about it, and kind of just like looking at it. And I never saw it from a woman's point of view, so that's why I wanted to kind of question that.
And it weirds me out from a woman's point of view. And I mean, I've had the privilege. I've met Catherine a handful of times.
Yeah, she's awesome.
I don't know her, but I've met her, and she seems quite pleasant. So, like, it's one of those kind of respectable things, I think, where it's kind of like, why are you? Like, I get it. Like, he's a celebrity and he's attractive and whatever. Like, that's fine. But, like, why can't you keep those thoughts in your head? Why do you have to put them on the keyboard? That's where it creeps me out, I think.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. I definitely agree when I see some of that stuff. Someone in the chat, Jennifer, says she thinks it's weird too. So it is. And I know people have fantasies and this and that, but when they put it online and actually when they know the man's married, I know they're saying things and it's just fantasies, but it's like, hey, you gotta have respect.
When it's weird is when they're married. Like, if you're not married or whatever, like, I guess.
Well, hell yeah.
overall, but
if he's like one of the top like 25 eligible bachelors or whatever.
right, sure, like then be like crazy, and then like there's a lot of I get it. So I interviewed Chris Young before,
Mm-hmm.
and there was somebody who was I posted it on my YouTube page, and there was this, I think it was a girl, and she just kept posting like weird stuff, like tell my honey to get away from you, and like she was apparently under the impression she was in a relationship with Chris
Yep.
Young, and it was like, okay, now you've went to the, like, he's not married, but now you've also went to the bad place. Like, can't you just like
Oh yeah.
be
Well, did that happen with Gary Allen too? Didn't Gary Allen have like a stalker that went on his property that he had to get a restraining order against?
I'm sure they all have had that, but I do remember that story about Gary Allen.
Yeah, that's one of the most craziest stories I've ever heard, was just with his whole thing when he did you ever see when he did that Oprah interview right after his wife died?
No.
It's hard to find. It's out there, but if you ever see it, it's the first time he opened up after his wife, after she committed suicide, and he opened up on the Oprah show, and he explained the entire night, and I'm like, now I know where that album, I Just Got Back from Hell, or that song just came from, like Tough All Over album came from. I'm like, just the stories he was sharing about that day, I was just like, was intense, and so that's still one of my favorite albums, just from anybody.
Well, I mean, it's a great album, but I can't imagine. I'm gonna have to go find that interview because I can't imagine.
I found a part of it on YouTube years ago, but I still can't find the whole thing. If anybody out there can ever find that whole interview, you guys send it to me, because I love to find it. It was I don't even know what year it was, but I mean, it was probably.
Well, dude, Oprah alone is gonna date it because she hasn't been on in a hot minute.
05, 06, somewhere in there. Whenever everything happened, I don't even know when. I met Gary Allen in 07. I want to say 2006 is when I met him. So it's probably 2005 when all went down. I'll look for it again. Yeah, but if you ever find it,
you have to send it to me too.
Yeah, especially being in the media, it's definitely one of those interviews that, like, I don't even know how Oprah got through it, because it was very, very graphic and very like touching, like interview. So it's definitely one to check out. So, yeah, I was gonna like kind of going with that. When you are interviewing people and you get stuff like that, I mean, how do you really react? You kind of explained a little bit, like with the lady that was with Chris Young, but have you ever had that kind of when you're like interviewing the person like on site, where they had to kind of take them away because they had a stalker around or anything?
Luckily enough, no. I've had some people like DM me, like personally DM me, like crazy stuff, and then that's really easy just to block. But I to be honest, I don't know how any of these guys or gals that are, these celebrities can really deal with that, because like I said, there's a line, and I think most people know where the line is, but there's that handful of people that don't, and those are the people that make it or ruin it for everybody else, because you don't want to let people get too close for you if you've got somebody who's completely insane.
Yep. There was one time I was at my uncle's stadium in West Virginia, and they had 98 degrees there, and my mom and I went to see the show. And it was the funniest thing, because they had all these girls outside just waiting for them, like trying just to catch a peek of them or anything. So they put 4 of their dancers with towels over their head and made it look like the 4 guys. They snuck them into this van and drove off with them. And all these women started chasing after the van and chasing them back to their hotel. Well, the van went the opposite way. And then the other 4 guys got in the back. The actual 90 guys from 90 degrees got in the back of the ambulance, and the ambulance took them back to their hotel. And no one knew that they were in there. It was like a diversion. They sent the van as a diversion, and all the women started chasing after the van, and no one hung back. And then they just kind of walked out, got an ambulance, and left.
I feel like you'd have to do stuff like that. That's awesome. But I feel like you'd have to do that. And, especially now with the way the world is, like people's addresses are posted online. Like that, to me, weird, like that would weird me out.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, there's really nothing that's private anymore. I mean, a lot of your info is, if you've ever filled out anything, it always becomes public some way, and somehow people can pay $20 to figure out whatever. So it makes all that stuff a little bit too easy, and a little bit too, especially now being a dad and everything, looking into it a little too uncomfortable when it comes to stuff like that. But
you can look out for a little person now.
Oh yeah, for sure. So being a fan of Eric and a friend of Eric, kind of in the same sense, how do you gauge the two? Because I know there's times where you just want to be a fan and kind of don't want to over kind of like fangirl around being the same person, like kind of interviewing with them. And I even saw with your interview, you were very calm. Like I said earlier, the questions you're asking was amazing. So how do you kind of judge the two?
Well, that's a great question because I've
Yeah.
never been asked that question before, but it is something that I do think about, especially with people that I've met. And there's a lot of local celebrities in St. Louis that are in the same category where I've met them enough times that I know
Yep.
them, but it is weird. So I kind of judge my moments on when I'm going to fangirl out. So there was that one award show that I didn't do the seat filling, and I bought tickets, and
Okay.
they announced
Yes,
who
that's where I was kind of going with this a little bit.
Yeah, I figured you were. And so, but it was one of those moments where like I had been in Nashville with my friends for the whole week,
Mhm.
and like I said, I don't drink, but there might have been a few Jack Daniels happening that night before we went to the concert and or the award show. And so then we got to the award show, and we were having a good time, and without seat filling, there's a lot of rules you don't have to follow. So I can talk to
Yep.
people, I can dance, and I can drink, and I can throw things around. And so I was doing kind of, all of that stuff. And then, I did notice the microphone really close to me, and it was kind of the spur of the moment thing when Lionel Richie had that long pause before Entertainer of the Year. I figured I might as well yell Eric Church because that was the one time I figured I could be like a real actual fan and just scream it
Yep.
out and see what happens. I didn't know it was going to pick up on the television. And I also didn't realize it was going to pick up so clearly that my mother texted me and was like, "Oh my God, was that you?"
That was you.
And I was like, "Oh, you could tell that was my voice." And she was like, "Yes, oh my God." So, yeah.
I'm sure you got a lot of. I saw a lot of love and a lot of hate for it at the same time. So how would you? Honestly, like you said, you were there as a fan. You paid to be there, and you weren't working, so it's completely opposite. So that is a good way to kind of separate the two. I do believe, and someone in the chat must not knew it was you. Yes, that was her that screamed at that one year. So. But yeah, that was really cool because I think instantly a couple of us were like, was that Angela? Because I think you said something on Facebook or somewhere. And we're like, we heard that. Like that was clear as day.
Well, and that really is kind of how I am kind of juggling my life right now.
Yeah.
Is if I'm paying to be somewhere, I'm there as a
Mhm.
fan. If I'm
Yep.
working somewhere, I'm working. And I
Exactly.
can really separate the two. I get a lot of heat, especially in the media, for being an Eric Church super fan. And I really hate
Yeah.
the term super fan because I feel like super fan is the people who stalk him to his house. That's not me.
Exactly.
I've just been a fan for a long time, and I respect what the guy does. I'm not so sure about this new album, but we'll see. But
Well, I felt that about Desperate Man. When I first heard a little bit of Desperate Man, I'm like, ooh, this is gonna be a little out there. And then I heard the whole thing together as a package. I'm like, okay, I like this. This is pretty good.
I'm hoping that goes because this Jenny song that he put out, like I like him because the lyrics usually can paint a photo in my mind, and I can kind of see the scenes of what he's verbalizing. And that Jenny from the Block line kills me. I think that's just so. I'm gonna say
it reminds
lazy.
me too much of Homeboy, and that's why I wasn't a big Homeboy fan. Like the gold on your teeth and everything else. He was singing lines I didn't picture him.
You also don't like. Do you realize, Aaron, that I posted something about like not really liking that Jenny song, and I got so much heat from one guy in particular. He was like, "Go back to Rascal Flatts, love. Why are you in this fan group?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, I cannot like a song or two, right?"
Exactly. I tell people all the time. My least favorite Eric Church song is "Kill a Word." I'm not a big fan of it. Like I like the song. I think it speaks a good volume, but I'm not crazy about it. And like I know when he plays it live, that's a good time for me to go to the bathroom real quick. I'm like, all right, I'm good. I just was never a crazy fan of it. Now Luke Dick's gonna be on the show coming up, but
I have a theory, and one of us has to get the answer to this. I have a theory that he was watching Bob Builder with one of his children, and Bob always build a word, let's build it now. And I feel like he just took the opposite of that and made it a song. And that is the only song of his right now that I skip or turn off if it comes on.
I'll have to find out. Luke, he co-wrote it with Luke Dick, and Luke Dick and I just spoke today about rescheduling a date for him for the show. So I'm going to have Luke Dick on coming up soon. So I have to ask him about that song when they wrote it together.
Please, I feel like that's got to be the truth.
That's kind of funny because I definitely have seen that with a lot of the newer stuff when Eric's became a dad now and kind of seeing a lot of it change. Like I know he teased that Finding Neverland song that one year at the fan club party. I would love to hear that song come out. I know we got clips of it on Face or YouTube and stuff, but that was a hell of a good song.
Yeah, that would have been a great song. I mean, even when I interviewed him back in 14, he said that he had so many songs that would have been huge hits, but he didn't want to put them out because they had already been overdone. I would like to see that album of songs that he never cut that should have been cut.
I wonder if there'll ever be anything because, like, I was talking to Spillman last week a little bit about it. He brought up Michael and Stand Our Ground because Spillman and Eric wrote Michael, and
Yeah,
I wanted to kind of get
that one now.
Yeah, I want to kind of get in there a little bit more, but I know that song will probably never be one that'll ever be played. If a lot of people don't know out there's a song, you could research it by Eric on YouTube. It's an unreleased song called Michael. And it really is when Brandon first went to AA and Brandon came home or was on the phone with Eric and said, hey, this is what happened in my AA meeting. We need to write a song about it. And it literally was a guy that Brandon met in the AA meeting that they wrote the song about. And so I really don't know if that, because Brandon put a lot of himself in that song too. And I really don't think. I think that'd be a song. Like I was kind of asked Jeremy last week, do you think Eric will ever do anything with that? And he's like, he's a man that never looks back. He always looks forward. And I said, I agree. I said, I definitely agree.
That's good because you and I were both in the pit in St. Louis when there was that guy behind us with his sign yelling, play Michael. And I'm like, this is not the time for that.
Exactly. And it's just like when he did the Opry and he did the song of the Opry, like leave that song there. Why not me? That song, leave that song at the Opry. I mean, just leave it because there's a time and place for songs like that. And I think it's be the perfect place. I mean, the last time and the only time I pretty much ever heard Eric ever do Michael, I think it was 2009 at the Rutledge when he was doing all of his songwriting rounds.
Yep, I was
there. That was a hell of a, I mean, that was awesome to hear it then. And I actually pulled a you in that one because if you watch it on YouTube, you hear somebody holler Michael in the background, and it was me. And he stops and points up. I was like, I knew that was coming. It was just one of my favorite songs that he did back then. I really wish that one of these days he would go back, like you were talking, and go and do like the lost songs or whatever, and put like a double album out. So
I would love for the lost songs to be out there because there probably is a lot more that we just don't even know about that are really great. And it would have been really great for their time if they would have been released then. So it would be cool to hear.
Oh, agreed. I mean, like Whiskey Wings. I mean, that's one of my favorites. You could definitely hear that song by Dean Miller. Cut it years ago, and you can find that on Apple Music. But Eric teased a little snippet of it on his mixtape CMT video he did years ago with the Springsteen video. So that's a really one he'd ever release. I mean, I know you know that song too, but that'd be a good one. Oh, what's up, Bill?
How you doing?
Yeah. He could go on, man. He could release albums for, I mean, forever with all the shit he has.
Well, the thing he told me in 14 was he said, I'm not going to put out very many albums. I can only put out albums as long as I can be creative. So when I heard about this recording all on the same day, I'm like, at least he's still finding ways to be creative so he can put out albums. I'm not sure I'm going to like it. We'll find out.
I'll just show you this thing one time if I can ever find it again. I was told by an old friend of mine never to share it because they don't want me to put anything in Eric's head. But I have a clip that I cut out of a Country Weekly magazine years ago. And it pretty much is talking about how he has a shelf life on his own music. Yeah. He says, if I make 5 albums in 15 years, I'll call it a day. I'll be happy. And that's why I do think Eric has a shelf life.
Yeah. Yeah, he said something very similar to that when I had interviewed him in 14. So I feel like that might be where his brain's at anyway. So who knows? I could definitely,
I mean, I know I've brought this up in the past, but I could definitely see Eric pulling a Garth and stepping away for a few years, maybe just doing a few private gigs or a few things here and there, but taking him like 10 years off until the kids graduate or whatever. Once they get a little older, I could see him doing something like that. So much as I don't want him to, but I could see it, and he might deserve it by then. We might just have to find somebody else to follow for a while.
Well, we're all supposed to be following other people in addition to him anyway, but yeah.
That's if we even get to go out anymore. I mean, hell, who knows when we get to go to another concert.
We're allowed to leave our homes. Yeah, under house arrest, basically. At least you get to go to work. I'm under house arrest.
Yeah. Well, I got deemed essential, so that's how it goes when you work for a cannabis place.
Hey, who knew? Who knew
Yeah,
that we live in an era where that's essential? And good for
exactly.
you. At least you get to interact with humans.
Illinois went from illegal to essential in 3 months with cannabis, which is
And
just
there's people lined up
insane.
outside. I know a bunch of people from St. Louis who traveled across the river because they could do that.
Yep. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot in Southern Illinois that they'll cross over, and it's insane to see how there's still $1 million a week being made, if not more, in this industry. So I think it came back. Illinois made 37 million last month or something. I'm like, I sure
Yeah.
hope they're doing something with that money.
Illinois needs the money. They're not managing their money that great.
Have we ever? They got some great governors here.
Yeah,
So,
well,
so how do you think?
Tongue.
What was that?
No, I'm just biting my tongue on the governor comment.
Oh yeah, for sure. How do you think after all this ends, the media do you think it will change the way we see media now, especially with like broadcasters like broadcasting from home now, like even newscasters and everything? Do you think you'll see a big shift or a big change? Yeah.
I'm very frightened for a change like that. I'm frightened really for my own livelihood, but also for what that does to the media, because I feel like really the essence of the media is kind of like getting involved in being with the people and in the trenches, if you will. And
Yep.
if you're doing all your stories from home and Skyping, I feel like it can be done, but it does take the part away. There's news and there's things that you're not in this same room and like that kind of stuff. So I'm actually really frightened. And I do my show from my house right now that I do
Yeah.
on TV, but I haven't been able to do any adventures, obviously, because the adventures require me to be in the public, and so it's going to be very interesting.
It is. And I want to see how fast things, because like really nobody, like even when it comes to TV now, nobody's filming anything right now. So there's going to be a drought like for new shows and stuff on TV, I think, just for any new product or new content.
There's going to be a huge drought because all those shows, like I keep track of kind of those things, anything that's close by,
Yeah.
especially all those Chicago shows that you guys film up there, and they all quit, right when this started hitting, and they're like, okay, so the season's basically over, and there's no end to it because they couldn't, film the rest of it. So it's
Yep.
just a very interesting world that we're going to be entering into, and I hope it can get back to normal. I just don't know how long it's going to take.
I agree. It's going to take some time, especially because, I mean, there's places that are talking about not even opening in 2020. I know I live really close to Six Flags Great America. I know there's one down in St. Louis too. And Six Flags is talking about not even opening this year, which is insane.
Six Flags St. Louis said they're going to open in mid-May.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, see, you guys are lifting yours a little bit earlier than maybe, because Illinois, they're talking about not even opening this year. Because I know Chicago canceled all public events. So like Lollapalooza, all that's canceled for this year.
It's insane. But yeah, so Missouri, the Missouri governor has opened everything up, but St. Louis and St. Louis County has not. But Six Flags St. Louis isn't actually in St. Louis. They're in the outskirts where they're allowed to open up. So they said May. So
nice. Okay, sweet. I'm glad to see them opening up. Yeah, because they were like, "What are we gonna do with the kids this summer?"
Come visit me in St. Louis.
Yeah, we might have to. It was kind of funny last year. My wife and I, we did talk about taking a day trip or a 2-day trip down to St. Louis to go check out the Six Flags down there.
Yeah.
So,
I
gotta ask before we wrap everything. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say before you come down, make sure everything's open up. But you should come down.
Yeah, for sure. I was gonna ask just because I'm an old school fan of Nelly and being St. Louis. How is interviewing him? I know you've actually got to interview him a few times, haven't you?
I have interviewed him a bunch of times. Nelly is one of those guys. This is so funny. So when I was going to that reality show that we talked about, where I met the girl who knew Brandon, I was on a plane. In a very fancy plane, and this woman was giving out massages, and she's like, "Where are you from?" And I said, "St. Louis." She's like, "Oh my God, do you know Nelly?" And I'm like, everybody doesn't know Nelly, but now everybody really does know Nelly. So he's around so much that everybody does know him, but he is so cool. Nelly is exactly what you picture Nelly to be. He is just that much fun all the time, and he's always so nice. He hasn't done it in a while, but he usually throws this black and white ball. It raises some money for some scholarships for some local kids going to college, and he is just really just a nice dude when it comes down to it. So yeah, I've interviewed him a bunch of times, and he's always been so wonderful.
He's one of my favorites, actually, just to go see live, like from like that era of like hip hop and everything. I love that when he kind of crossed over into the country world a little bit. It was just always fun.
I asked him, I said, there's a Taylor Swift song, there's a Tim McGraw song, there's Cruise of Florida Georgia Line. Are you going country? And he said, no, baby girl, they've gone hip hop. And I kind of agree.
Yep. It was fun. I've seen him a couple of times now where he'll throw a couple country songs in there in the middle. And it's always fun seeing him. So
yeah, well, they came to town with Florida Georgia Line in St. Louis.
Yep.
Hey, no, go Braves, go Cardinals. I saw that one. I rarely see these ones pop up here, but I saw that one. I also saw Michelle's. Michelle said that Eric recognized me in the pit and gave me a hug, and she's right. We went to that concert together, so that was pretty cool. Yeah, so he came to with Florida Georgia Line, and then he did his set, they did theirs, and then they did the last 25 minutes together, which was actually kind of fun.
Oh wow! See, I went. My wife was a huge Backstreet Boys fan, so they came to Wrigley Field. Nelly, Chris Lane, Backstreet Boys, and Florida Georgia Line. And it was really cool because Nelly didn't sing, was it Hot in Here? It might have been, I think it was Hot in Here. Nelly didn't sing Hot in Here. Backstreet Boys didn't sing Everybody. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I'm like, why aren't they singing their biggest songs? And then Backstreet Boys did their entire set, or Florida Georgia Line did their entire set. And they were done and they didn't do Cruise. So, of course, all right, Cruise is going to be the finale. So I'm thinking they're all going to come out and do Cruise. Well, no, all of a sudden, Nelly pops up out of nowhere and starts playing Hot in Here. That goes straight into Everybody's Back by Backstreet Boys, and then that goes into Cruise. I'm like, I don't care what anybody says. Call me whatever. That was cool as shit. That was like one of the coolest encores I've ever seen, to have all three of those main openers come back out, sing their biggest hits together pretty much, and then they literally caught the bleachers of Wrigley on fire with all the fireworks they had that night.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love it when you can kind of flow those together, and that's kind of what Florida Georgia Line and Nelly did when we were in St. Louis too, and that was a lot of fun. I mean, I had a great time. Hey, Jermaine Dupri is awesome. Also, I've also interviewed Jermaine Dupri, Mr. Mike Strawberry. There, I have.
I think he's like giving you a crap there for a little bit.
Yeah.
So before I let you go, I'm gonna play. We gotta play this game. So I gotta ask you 9 questions. See if you get it done. It's only gonna be 8 questions tonight because one of them I've already asked you, and that was your favorite Cardinals player. So you get one out. I'm gonna try to see if I could actually do it with music this week. I tried it in the past, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Where I'm gonna mess up and say something stupid.
All right. Oh yeah, we got the music back. All right. What is your dream Crossroads episode? 2 artists.
Did it have to be alive?
No. Anybody. Your dream one.
The Beatles and anybody. I love the Beatles.
All right.
Seriously,
that'd be a good one.
With anybody, name somebody I hate, and I would go see it because that would be awesome.
Beatles and Rascal Flatts. No, I'm joking.
What a weird combination.
On an island with one EC album. If you're on an island, you're going to take one Eric Church album. What album are you taking?
Carolina.
Ooh, I like it.
Me to go is my favorite Eric Church song ever. So.
Yeah, I like that one. One song for Eric to cover that he's never covered before.
Oh no. Oh, you know what? Well, he did Eminem, right? And he did Snoop Dogg. I would like to see him do what is that Eazy-E song that I like so much? Give me that nut. That's the song. I would like to see him do Give Me That.
That'd be funny. Do some Too Short or something.
That'd be great.
All right, your least favorite concert venue.
Well, I don't know. I've been kind of spoiled in St. Louis. So I'm going to say my least favorite concert venue is Illinois State Fair.
You went to the Aaron Lewis, Eric Church show, didn't you?
I sure did, yeah. And we got
I was there. But I watched the whole show behind a net.
In the same place. We have the same driving distance.
Yep. We had to watch the entire show behind a net. This was terrible.
Well, you should have came with me. We got great spot. We had a great spot, like right up front. But
Okay, what didn't you like about that place then?
I just didn't. I don't know. There's something about a state fair that I guess I'm just not into anymore. I used to be into it. Not, that was the we were waiting to get inside, and we were sitting by a guy who had a bunch of teardrops, tattooed on his face. And so, me and my inquisitory self, I'm like, so is that supposed to mean you killed somebody? And he was like, yeah. And he was really nice. And he's the one who got us this really good Eric Church spot. So he was there for Aaron Lewis. So he was like, just come on up. And I was like, okay. All right.
You got a fan that says "Go Royals." All right.
Oh, I know him. He's the guy who kept yelling "cup" all day in Kansas City. Hi, Michael. He got the cup too, by the way.
That is funny. It's always good to grab one of those things. So that's for sure.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's see what else. Where are we at? Number 6, your favorite travel location.
Nashville. That was easy.
Oh, hell yeah. Definitely.
That was easy.
You take that over a beach any day?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I lived on the beach now for a year. Remember, I lived on Treasure Island, and I had a place on the beach during those times that I was back and forth. And I do love the beach, but no, yeah, I'll take Nashville over the beach any day.
Nice. Yeah, I'm definitely missing some Nashville lately. It's gonna be weird for me because I haven't been to. Well, I was in Nashville February, but it was a quick one. I haven't been down there since I quit drinking yet, so it's gonna be an interesting trip when I first get back down to Nashville.
Well, when they let us all go back, we should get like a giant group of people together to
I would love
make the
to.
down in Nashville. That would be fun.
I know there a few of us are talking the minute Eric announces his where he's going to be next or his first show back. We're all going to try to make it out to that.
Well,
one
see, now you guys are a lot more fun than I am, and you guys have a little bit more flexible schedules, I feel like, because you guys go everywhere, and I really only go in this driving distance of St. Louis, but I might make
I try. If it's within like 8 hours or so and I can make it back home early Sunday, I'll try to do it. My biggest thing though is I like to be home Sunday before the kids get up. So I know a lot of these shows I've left Saturday night pretty much right after Eric was done and just drove all the way back home.
And then just drove straight,
so,
yeah.
Well, like especially St. Louis or something.
The best of both worlds.
Yeah. So and being, I mean, well, you got it too. I mean, kind of being in Midwest here, we kind of are lucky having shows so close in so many cities so close by. So that's kind of nice, but traveling makes traveling a lot easier.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, it's kind of one of those things. I'm like, I have a radius. Like I will travel this far, and that's it. And then every once in a while, I'll be like, oh, okay, let's go a little farther.
Yep. Well, we'll go out here, and next thing you know, you're working in Tampa Bay, right?
That's right. And you're like, okay, now my radius has got way bigger.
All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and let you go for the night. I really appreciate you coming on and filling in for Melissa this week and being able to bump up. We did have you scheduled in June. So which was nice to be able to bump you up and bring you on here in May and kick everything off. Cinco de Mayo. I mean, it would have been nice to have a margarita or something, but
you're supposed to be drinking and eating tacos, and we're doing neither of those things.
Exactly. I don't even think there's anywhere around other than Taco Bell right now, which I'm not going to do. So
no. Well, I mean, St. Louis, you could get food picked up.
Yeah, I mean, we could get like Qdoba here, but that's about. I mean, I'm like, nah. I mean, there's really there's no authentic taco place that'll deliver or pick up right now within our immediate area. So I was like, I'll be okay.
Well, thanks for having me on. I mean, I think I told you I was just your fill-in, so hopefully I didn't bore everybody to tears today.
You were definitely not fill-in. That's what I was saying. You were booked for later on, and I was glad because when Melissa said she couldn't make it on, I was like, let me look through and see who would probably be able to do it. And I knew working in media right now, you were probably sitting at home not much to do. So I was like, let's get Angela on. I'd love to be able to talk to her and bring her up a little bit. So
you didn't ask me the one question that everybody always asks me, and you didn't ask me it.
What is that?
The question everybody always asks is because they, the people that know that I had met him a handful of times before he had a record deal, ask me all the time if he's as much of a badass as he portrays, and you didn't ask that question.
Is it? I probably didn't ask you that because I kind of know the answer. So that's probably why.
Yes. My answer is kind of yes. I don't know what your answer is, but I have a quick story for you, if you will.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
I'm down in Nashville. I know you have to go, but I'm down in Nashville.
No, you're good.
I had met them. We'd been hanging out with Brandon and Eric a couple days now, and we were at the Fiddle again, and a guy came up that I had kind of sort of known from St. Louis, and he came up and he was talking. I was sitting with Eric at the time, and he was asking me and Eric questions and really focusing the conversation with Eric, and he wanted to write with Eric. We gave Eric his card. The guy is still standing here. Now, I don't want to give too much away because I don't want the guy to watch this back later, but the guy was still standing here, and Eric looks at me and he goes, is this guy a friend of yours? And I was like, I mean, I kind of know his brother. And he's like, has he ever talked to you before? And I'm like, actually, no. And Eric took that card, crumpled it up, threw it on the ground, right in front of the guy's face. And I was like, okay, this is a guy that I want to be friends with because he was, that loyal already. And we'd only hung out like 3 days. And I was like,
yeah, right.
I can be friends with.
I was there one time when someone went and dropped a CD in front of him of songs that he wanted to listen to for another album. And Eric's just like, I think it was right around the time after he released Carolina. And I don't know where we were, but he looked at the guy. He goes, are you a fan of mine? And the guy's like, yeah. He's like, I'm a huge fan. That's why I want you to listen to the CD and see if you can cut any of these songs. And he goes, how many songs have I cut before by other people? The guy's like, I don't know, just a couple. And I'm looking there at Eric, like, he hands the guy back the CD. He goes, get your answers straight and then come back one day.
Oh, I
handed
love
him
it.
the CD back. I was like, yep, all right. Because it's like, if you're going to at least hand somebody something, know a little bit about the guy. Know the guy has never cut. I mean, at that point, like I said, it was before Chief, has never cut a song anybody else has written, unless he's co-written. So just knowing where he would say, a couple or whatever, the dude had no fucking clue. He was just trying to pass something on and whatnot.
That's one of the things I like about Eric is the straightforwardness. Like, okay, you're all right, done.
Yep.
Later.
It is very, I mean, yeah, people, that's probably why I didn't ask you that question, because I know
Hi, Chris.
Eric really is a badass when it comes down to it, because he doesn't really give two shits about many things. I mean, if he's not on the road, he's at home. I mean, he's not out doing much, or I am absolutely shocked to see that he did any kind of live stream from his house for anything.
I was kind of surprised, but I figured, with it being the award show that, he's going to have to revisit in, September, that you might as well do something for him.
Yeah. So I was shocked even when he did that interview and everything. And I was like, everybody's like begging for Eric to do a live stream. I'm like, yeah, okay, that ain't happening. I'm like, he's just not the guy that really, he cares about his fans.
As bored as I am at my house. I mean, at least he's got kids and a wife to entertain him. I'm just bored. So,
at least he's not ending up on Cameo or anything like that right now.
Gosh, not yet. Please, I hope never. I mean,
I'm gonna give my next week guest.
Never.
I'm gonna give my next week guest some shit, because I just saw it today. He popped up on being a newbie on Cameo today.
Is he on Cameo?
As of today, yeah. As of today, Lewis Bryce is on Cameo. Lee's been on it, but I think Lee's a little overpriced on Cameo, to be honest. I mean, he's like $200.
What's Lee's price on Cameo?
He's 200.
Oh, that is a little high. What's
for
Lewis's price?
I haven't looked at Lewis's price yet. I just saw it pop up, and I shared it earlier on my page, but I haven't actually clicked on it to see how much he's charging yet. But
Lewis is a really nice guy. How do you know him?
All right, so Lewis, I met him. So 2011, probably 2010, I want to say. And I have a mutual friend of the business. Her name's Ashley, and she started doing work with Lewis, and he was doing a tour around the Chicagoland area. And she goes, hey, there's a low budget tour. Do you mind? This is before I had kids or anything. She goes, you mind if Lewis and the guys crash your place? It's like, I don't care. I said, come on. And then the next thing I know, Lewis is calling me up the next day, just kind of getting some info from me and everything else. And that was the first time I actually ever met Lewis, was at my house. As strange as it sounds.
Amazing story.
Yeah, as strange as it sounds. So I became the guy for a while there. Since I had like the basement and everything else they'd hang out in. But before Jillian and I had kids, a lot of the bands that came up from Nashville, they would actually stay here at the house. If they had gigs between Chicago and Milwaukee, because we were right in the middle. So they come and stay here. All the band, and our good buddy of mine, Jacob Stiefel, him and his band would stay here a lot. We'd feed them and everything else, give them a couch or air mattress to sleep on, and just sort of keep them. I mean, where they had actually some place to go outside of Nashville while they're on the road.
That is so fun.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a cool time. Yeah, so that was kind of the first time.
This whole time, Aaron.
Was that?
I should have been interviewing you this whole time instead of the other way around.
No, one of these days, everybody's just like, when are you going to get interviewed? I'm like, there's one guy that I want to have a one-on-one with, and if I could ever get him on, that'd be a fun one. But I don't know, one of these days.
Well, you should at least. I hope you're writing this stuff down because they tell us the memory fades as we get older. So I hope you're writing all these awesome stories down.
So I was telling you, like, I was talking with Spillman a lot last week about like the whole book writing thing. I told him that I was kind of wanting to write a book about my whole journey, just kind of everything I've seen and done, and just following one artist to 200 shows. And I told him that this podcast is kind of where the book started off, because I wanted to start getting those stories together during this podcast. So I'm kind of putting it all into the book eventually. So everybody that I was going to include in the book eventually, I'm having on my show as a guest. So I like the people I've met over the years through this journey, this crazy journey I've been on. So
that's awesome. Well, I love that. I'll read the book.
Yeah, so that's definitely why you were part of this, why I wanted you on and why I asked you to be a part of the show, because you're definitely one of the ones I met early on. I still remember being mad at you when you snuck in the back door at Ernest Tubbs. I'm over here sweating. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, how did you get in? I wasn't really mad at you. I was just saying that figuratively.
You were mad. You were proud that I was there.
I was awesome that you were there. I'm over here like 110 degrees sweating, and you're just over here just like looking good as hell. Like you just strolled on in. I'm like, what the fuck?
I watched part of the show at the main stadium, and then I walked over late.
Yep.
So I'm not gonna. Yeah.
Well, didn't like Todd or somebody get you in? That was awesome though.
Yeah. I used my I had a media credential, so I used my media credential to get in. So.
You got to do what you got to do, right?
I told you, a life only opportunities have shelf life, so you have to take everyone you're given. So. And
sometimes, as long as you act like you know what you're doing, you get a little further than most people would.
Well, yeah. I showed my credential, and they were like, "You're not on the list," and I'm like, "But I have a credential," and they're like, "Okay, fine, whatever, girl. Stop bothering me." Basically, it was.
Get in oven.
Yeah, stop talking to me. And the only way to make me stop talking was to let me in. But that was a cool show, although 1,000 degrees.
Yeah, it was hot as hell. It was their last one they did there. I know Charlie hasn't done another one there since. He moved venues, so it was really cool. But
can I make that my answer for least favorite venue?
Right, that's gonna be mine. Even though it was a really cool experience, but I think I got there like at 4:30, and he didn't come on until midnight. So I was there
at 4:30. You had a great spot, but you were there at 4:30.
I went right from his fan club party. So I was tipped off that was happening probably about 2 hours before the fan club party happened. So the minute the fan club party was over, I went straight to Ernest Tubbs from the fan club party.
Yeah, well, you're the
one.
one.
I was there with I think Casey was there, and another one of my friends was there, Rachel, and it was us three. We were like the first three there. And we asked the guy, we're like, hey, we heard a rumor somebody might be here playing tonight. Are we just cool to stand here? And there was like nobody in the store at all. And they're like, yeah, go to the stage and show there. We don't care. So it was like 4:30. We just went and sat. We're like, whatever.
Oh my gosh.
And then word started getting out.
While you were sitting inside, the police were threatening to run us over with the horses outside. So they were taking horses, and they're like, we will run you over. And they're like, are they threatening to run us over with horses? Like, what is happening? And then I saw the back door.
Once the word got out, it got really crazy in there. And I mean, all he did was show up and sing 2 songs and bounce, but it was pretty nice. It was pretty cool.
Do you blame the man?
Oh man, I think I lost about 20 pounds that night.
Oh, I wasn't even there as long as you, and I know that I lost some weight that night. By the time we were in there, I was like, what is happening?
When they started bringing that bottle of water in, it was like piss warm. When they started bringing that water in, it's like, oh, thank God we just got something wet. Because like I didn't want to leave. A lot of people were leaving, going to the bar next door and getting this water. And I mean, a couple of people brought me like 1 bottle back, but I was like, I don't want to leave because I don't want to lose that spot that I was chilling at all day.
So yeah, spot. Yeah, I wouldn't want to give that spot up either.
Johnson said the horse story is true. I saw it. Yeah, I saw pictures. I saw pictures of them running around down Broadway trying to chase everybody out because they're trying to watch from like the streets and stuff.
Yeah, well, they became kind of aggressive, and I've never seen a Nashville police officer be aggressive like that. And I was like, what is that? Why are you guys all of a sudden get aggressive? But okay.
Yeah, it's funny because I had 4-day passes. I still remember I had 4-day passes for the stadium, and Eric was going to play the stadium that night. And so I had to make
That's where I was.
I had to make the decision. Am I going to see Eric at the stadium, or going to go see him at Ernest Tubb? Well, which one would be a little bit better for me. I'm like, earn a sub for sure. So I text the girl that I sold my tickets to, my 4-day tickets. I'm like, I'm buying them for Thursday, Friday. You could just pay half of it, have them for Saturday, Sunday. She's like, okay, which worked out perfect for me. But then I was like, I think that was Friday night. It was at Ernest Tubbs. So I was like, I texted her. I said, come get the passes early. You could go Friday night. I'm going to Ernest Tubbs. So she was all excited. I gave her an extra night for free.
Oh, so, she was pumped. Yeah.
Yeah. So she got to go Friday night. She didn't think she was going to go Friday night. So, but all right. Well, we're going to wrap up. It was great having you tonight. Thank you for all of the awesome stories. We could probably go another 45 minutes to an hour and still be sharing awesome stories from back in the day. So, well, you take care, and we'll catch up and talk soon.
All right. Thanks, Aaron. Bye.
Thanks for coming on. All right, guys. That was Angela. That was awesome show. I had so much fun with that. We ran a little bit over, but that's fine. Tonight was a little bit off night anyways here at the house. So I was able to run over a little bit. Like I said, I'm going to sneak off to the garage here in a minute and finish watching The Office for the first time ever, season finale or episode finale, whatever. Series finale. That's the word I was looking for. But yeah, I finally decided since it was on Netflix, start binge watching The Office. I've never really seen it before. And I finally got to season 9 in the last episode, and that's where I'm headed to next. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Once again, if you guys haven't seen our Patreon, go check out our Patreon. I will share all links in the comments, as well as if you're listening to this on Apple or any streaming sites. All the comments are in the show notes for this show. And you can find everything, or all the links, are in the show notes for this show. But go ahead and, yeah, Johnson, definitely, if you could go ahead. Hey, he's driving through West Virginia. That's one of my favorite places, man, for sure. Go ahead and back and watch it. And it was a great night. It was a great interview with her. Shared some really cool stories. I know she was there when the night Eric got his record deal. We could have went into a lot more stories with Angela tonight, but we'll save those maybe for a part 2 down the road. So she's always one of my favorites to have on and sit down and talk to. And yeah, she was definitely a good one. But check out our Patreon if you guys can. Next month, we are giving away another Jeremy Spillman Divine Devils book. I'm going to keep on just shipping those off Amazon for you guys as much as I can. And then you will get a Lewis Price merch set. And with that said, we are going to roll into a little video and then exit out the show. So it was a really good time tonight having you guys all on. I cannot wait till next week when we bring on a really good friend of mine, and we're going to go ahead and watch a little video about that and close out the show. So I'll see you guys next Tuesday night. Stay safe out there and stay sane. Talk to you guys soon.
Thought I'd be a rambling man, living in the moment, never making plans. Finding love was just a dream I was having, written in the... Do you always keep messing with my... Why let you walk out that door?
The Gainin Fast on Memphis podcast with Aaron Shriver is brought to you by Arlo Revolution. As we close the book on another chapter, remember, music gives a soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and life to everything. Next week, Aaron connects more melodies and memories with other fans and the artists they love. Thanks for being a part of this musical journey, and we'll see you next time on the Gainin Fast on Memphis podcast with Aaron Shriver.